The cowboy only stopped at the ancient well for a drink after days of crossing the scorching desert. He had no idea the water before him was considered sacred by the Apache people, or that someone had been watching his every move. Moments later, Apache warriors quietly surrounded him, but instead of drawing their weapons, they escorted him to the chief. Then the chief revealed a secret that had been hidden for generations, and what he asked of the cowboy would change both of their lives forever. Stay with us, because this unforgettable Wild West story is only just beginning. The summer sun hung high above the Arizona frontier, turning the open plains into a sea of shimmering heat. John Carter guided his faithful horse along a narrow trail that stretched between rocky hills and scattered cactus. For 3 days he had been traveling home after delivering cattle to a distant settlement. The journey had gone well, but the relentless heat had taken its toll. His canteen was nearly empty, and his horse moved more slowly with every passing mile. John gently patted the horse's neck. "Just a little farther, old friend," he said with a tired smile. "We'll find water soon." The horse gave a quiet snort, as if trying to believe him. The trail soon disappeared among tall cottonwood trees that lined a peaceful valley John had never seen before. Unlike the dry land behind him, this place felt cool and alive. Birds sang from the branches above, and a soft breeze carried the scent of fresh grass through the air. As he continued forward, something unusual caught his attention. Hidden beneath the shade of the trees stood an old stone well. Its walls were carefully built from smooth rocks that had weathered countless seasons. Carved symbols decorated the stones, though John could not understand their meaning. It was clear that someone had cared for this place for many generations. He climbed down from his horse and slowly approached the well. Lowering the wooden bucket, he listened as it touched the water far below. A moment later he pulled it back to the surface. The water sparkled in the afternoon sunlight, cool and clear. Before taking a drink himself, John carried the bucket to his horse. "You need this more than I do," he said. The thirsty animal eagerly drank while John smiled with relief. Only after his horse had finished did John fill the bucket once more and take a long drink himself. The cool water washed away the dust of the long journey, bringing fresh strength to both body and spirit. When they had rested, John carefully cleaned the bucket and placed it exactly where he had found it. He brushed away a few fallen leaves that had gathered around the edge of the well and made sure nothing had been disturbed. He removed his hat for a brief moment. "Thank you," he whispered, though no one appeared to be nearby. What John did not know was that he was not alone. High among the rocky hills overlooking the valley, 3 Apache scouts quietly watched everything. Hidden behind the trees, they had observed every movement from the moment John arrived. One young scout leaned toward the oldest among them. "He drank from the sacred well," he whispered. The older scout nodded. "But he showed respect. He even gave water to his horse before himself. And he left the well cleaner than he found it." For a few quiet moments, none of them spoke. Finally, the oldest scout stood. "The chief must hear about this." The 3 riders disappeared silently into the hills while John remained unaware that anyone had seen him. As the afternoon slowly faded into evening, John saddled his horse and prepared to continue his journey home. He believed the peaceful valley was simply a fortunate stop along the trail. He had no idea that every choice he had made beside the ancient well had already reached the ears of Chief White Eagle, a leader known for his wisdom and careful judgment. Before the sun set behind the distant mountains, a group of Apache riders appeared on the trail ahead. Their leader raised an open hand in greeting. "We come in peace," he said calmly. "Our chief wishes to meet the cowboy who honored the sacred well." John looked from the riders to the quiet valley behind him. A simple drink of water had become the beginning of an unexpected journey, one that would lead him to a secret far greater than he could ever imagine. The Apache riders guided John through winding trails that climbed over gentle hills and crossed quiet streams. As darkness settled across the frontier, small campfires began to appear in the distance. Soon they reached a peaceful village surrounded by tall cottonwood trees. Children laughed as they played near the fires while families prepared the evening meal. The air was filled with the comforting scent of fresh bread and roasted vegetables. John had expected suspicious faces. Instead, he was welcomed with quiet respect. One of the elders offered him a wooden bowl of warm stew, while another brought fresh water for his horse. Grateful for their kindness, John thanked them before joining the chief beside a large fire in the center of the village. Chief White Eagle was an older man whose calm eyes reflected both wisdom and patience. He studied John for a moment before speaking. "Our scouts watched everything you did at the sacred well," he said. John looked surprised. "I meant no disrespect," he replied. The chief smiled gently. "You showed the greatest respect without knowing anyone was watching. You gave water to your horse before yourself. You cared for the well before continuing your journey. Those simple actions told us more about your character than words ever could." John lowered his head humbly. "I only did what felt right." The chief nodded. "That is exactly why you are here." After a moment of silence, Chief White Eagle looked toward 5 young women who were helping prepare food for the families. Each moved with quiet confidence, sharing smiles and working together with ease. "They are my daughters," the chief said proudly. "Each has devoted her life to serving our people. One is a gifted healer. Another teaches our children. One cares for the horses. Another grows food from the land. The youngest preserves the stories of our ancestors so they are never forgotten." His smile slowly faded. "As the years pass, I wonder who will help protect the friendships we hope to build beyond this valley. My greatest concern is not for my family alone, but for the future of everyone who calls this land home." John listened carefully, beginning to understand that the invitation to the village was never about the sacred well alone. It was about trust, responsibility, and a future that depended on people willing to see one another as neighbors instead of strangers. At sunrise, Chief White Eagle invited John to walk beyond the village. They followed a narrow trail through towering cottonwood trees until they reached a hidden valley unlike anything John had ever seen. Crystal-clear streams flowed between green meadows, and wild flowers covered the ground in every direction. The peaceful place seemed untouched by time. The chief stopped beside a large stone overlooking the valley. "This is the greatest secret of our people," he said quietly. John looked around in amazement. "I thought you were going to show me hidden treasure." The chief smiled. "This is the treasure." He explained that the valley's natural springs had provided fresh water for generations, allowing families, wildlife, and nearby land to flourish even during the driest seasons. The secret was never about wealth. It was about protecting a gift that belonged to the future. "I have brought very few people here," the chief continued. "Only those whose hearts value responsibility above reward." He looked directly at John. "Will you promise to protect this place and never reveal its location to those who would misuse it?" Without hesitation, John placed his hand over his heart. "You have my word." The chief nodded with quiet satisfaction. In that simple promise, he realized he had found not just a trusted visitor, but a true friend whose honesty was more valuable than any treasure hidden beneath the earth. Over the next several weeks, John remained in the village, eager to learn and help wherever he could. He repaired fences, cared for horses, and shared simple ranching skills that made daily work easier. In return, the Apache families taught him how to read the seasons, conserve water, and care for the land with patience and respect. The chief's 5 daughters each shared a unique gift. One taught John about healing herbs, another showed him better ways to grow crops, while the others shared stories, traditions, and the importance of working together. Chief White Eagle watched these friendships grow with quiet satisfaction. The understanding between John and the village proved that trust could be built through kindness and respect. The hidden valley was no longer just a secret place. It had become a symbol of hope, showing that people from different backgrounds could protect the same land, share the same values, and create a brighter future together. As autumn painted the valley in shades of gold, Chief White Eagle gathered the Apache families and several neighboring ranchers beside the sacred well. The peaceful gathering celebrated not only a successful season but also the friendships that had grown from one unexpected meeting. Standing before everyone, the chief raised a beautifully carved wooden eagle. "This is not a reward," he said as he handed it to John. "It is a reminder that true honor belongs to those who protect others without asking for recognition." John accepted the gift with gratitude. "I only followed what my heart believed was right," he replied. The chief smiled warmly. "And that is why you earned our trust." As the evening sun disappeared beyond the distant hills, John looked once more at the sacred well where his journey had begun. He realized that the greatest secret was never hidden beneath the water. It was the lesson that kindness, respect, and honesty could unite people who once knew nothing about one another. With that understanding, John rode home carrying far more than a simple wooden carving. He carried friendships and memories that would remain with him for the rest of his life. As John disappeared into the endless frontier, he carried more than memories of an unforgettable journey. He carried a lesson that would stay with him forever. True honor is not measured by wealth, strength, or recognition. It is measured by the respect we show others, the promises we keep, and the kindness we offer when no one is watching. Sometimes, the greatest treasures are not hidden in the ground. They are found in trust, friendship, and the courage to do what is right. If you enjoyed this heartfelt Western frontier story, please like this video and subscribe to the channel for more original stories filled with courage, hope, friendship, and unforgettable adventures from the Old West. Don't forget to turn on the notification bell so you never miss our next story. Now we'd love to hear from you. What do you think was the greatest treasure in this story? The sacred well, the hidden valley, or the friendship that grew between John and the Apache people? Share your answer in the comments below. Thank you for watching. Until our next journey across the American frontier, take care, stay kind, and we'll see you in the next story.